Welcome to CognitionChunks. This is Tilting at Windmills, Cognitive Biases That Make Us See Enemies. A follow-up series of phrases like seeing pink elephants. From the phrase, tilting at windmills, taking on imaginary enemies or problems. The phrase tilting at windmills comes from Miguel de Cervantes' Don Quixote, a story in which the eponymous character mistakes windmills for giants and jests with them, believing he is fighting evil. The expression has come to symbolize futile or misconstrued actions and beliefs that stem from misperceptions or delusions. In psychological and cognitive terms, the act of tilting at windmills can be viewed as a manifestation of various cognitive biases that make us see enemies where there are none. Fundamental attribution error. 1. Definition. This is the tendency to overemphasize dispositional or personality-based explanations for behaviors observed in others while underemphasizing situational explanations. 2. Impact. We might see someone's actions as malicious or detrimental, believing their character to be flawed, while neglecting the context that might explain their actions. Confirmation bias. 1. Definition. This is the inclination to search for, interpret, and remember information in a way that confirms one's pre-existing beliefs. 2. Impact. When we are predisposed to view someone as an enemy, we are more likely to interpret their actions, even neutral or positive ones, as harmful or threatening. Hostile attribution bias. 1. Definition. This is the tendency to interpret others' behaviors as having hostile intent, even when the behavior is ambiguous or benign. 2. Impact. This bias may lead us to perceive enemies in situations where none exist, often leading to unnecessary conflicts. In-group-out-group bias. 1. Definition. We categorize people into groups, showing preference for those within our own group and disfavor or suspicion toward those in other groups. 2. Impact. Those in the outgroup are more easily seen as enemies, even when there is no objective basis for hostility. Negativity bias. 1. Definition. The tendency to place more significance on negative experiences over neutral or positive experiences. 2. Impact. Even minor negative behaviors by others may be magnified, leading us to perceive them as much greater threats than they actually are. Illusory pattern perception. 1. Definition. The tendency to see patterns, like constellations, causal relationships, or conspiracies, where none exist. 2. Impact. We may interpret random or coincidental actions as coordinated and intentional, seeing conspiracy where there is only circumstance. Sunk cost fallacy. 1. Definition. The inclination to continue a behavior or endeavor as a result of previously invested resources, such as time, effort, or money. 2. Impact. If we've already invested emotional energy into perceiving someone as an enemy, we're more likely to continue doing so to justify our initial perception. Cognitive dissonance. 1. Definition. The mental discomfort experienced when holding two or more conflicting beliefs, values, or perceptions. 2. Impact. When we're faced with evidence that contradicts our perception of an enemy, cognitive dissonance may make it uncomfortable to change our views, sustaining the enmity. Social and cultural amplifiers. 1. Media. Sensationalized news and social media can amplify cognitive biases by continually feeding us information that aligns with our preconceived notions. 2. Polarization. Societal or political polarization can exacerbate these biases, turning even mundane disagreements into perceived battles between enemies. Ethical and philosophical considerations. 1. Moral responsibility. Understanding these biases imposes an ethical responsibility to interrogate our perceptions critically. 2. Epistemological humility. Accepting that our understanding of the world is colored by these biases can foster a more nuanced and open approach to perceived enemies. Conclusion. Tilting at Windmills is more than a literary trope. It is a metaphorical encapsulation of various cognitive biases that skew our perception of the world and others. While these biases have evolutionary roots designed to help us navigate a complex and often dangerous world, they are not infallible. Understanding these biases is the first step toward more accurately perceiving reality and, hopefully, reducing unnecessary conflicts that arise from seeing enemies where none exist. Well, Cognition Chunkers, we've come to the end of another mind-bending episode, this time diving deep into the phenomenon of tilting at windmills. Today we peeled back the layers of cognitive biases that trick us into seeing enemies where there are none, diving into both psychological and neuroscientific perspectives to unravel this complex human quirk. Cognitive biases like confirmation bias, hyperactive agency detection, and even the Dunning-Kruger effect contribute to our misplaced battles against imaginary enemies. Our discussion reached far beyond the personal and into the societal, considering the impact of these biases on social polarization, misinformation, and international conflicts. We confronted the question, are we hardwired to fight phantoms, or is it a construct of our modern information overload? This led us to explore potential solutions and mitigation strategies. From cognitive reframing techniques to media literacy education, we looked at ways to ground ourselves when the windmills in our minds start turning into dragons. If you found this episode eye-opening and are keen to delve more into the convoluted ways our brains interpret reality, then stay tuned for our upcoming series Seeing Pink Elephants, where we will plunge into the abyss of human perception and delusion. Remember to hit that like button if you were fascinated by today's topic, and share this chunk of cognition with others who might also be tilting at windmills without realizing it. If you're not a subscriber yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button for a regular dose of engaging and informative knowledge, sprinkled with our unique brand of nerdy humor. So the next time you're in an unnecessary duel with life's windmills, remember this episode and take a moment to question if the giants you're fighting are real or just figments of your cognitive misadventures. That's it for today, folks. Keep questioning, keep challenging, and until next time, happy cognitive adventuring. And cut.